record. Okay, so I'd just like to hear one thing from each of you, one thing that you've learned or gained or experienced that has helped you since last time we met. So who'd like to go first?
Mine's still spinning.
Not everybody at once.
Can you hear me at all?
Yeah, go for it, Annalyn.
Okay, my video is doing something weird, so I couldn't tell if you could hear me. Let's see. Since we last talked, I think I did my first 3 full AHTs on clients. That was cool.
Very cool. Awesome. Big round of applause for Annalyn. Sweet. Hey, Jody, what went well for you?
I hate to say it, but nothing is coming to mind right at the moment. I'm sorry I can't contribute right at the moment.
We'll get back to you. Come up with something. Pam, how about you?
Well, I rewatched your video on the shortcuts today, and something you said really resonated with me because the sentence, the goal she was working on was kind of, had a lot of words in it. I would have made it more simple, but you said something about a lot of frequencies there, and now you're going to get pointed in that. And that was helpful to hear it in that perspective, I guess.
Very cool. Awesome. Round of applause for Pam. Okay, Vicky, and then back to Jody.
Okay, I did a full alignment on myself for allergies because they're really bad this time of year for me. And then I did what you said. I put the statement in my pocket, and then I just kept, anchoring it in throughout the day. I did that for 2 days, and finally today I was able to kind of start seeing a shift. My eyes aren't as itchy, my nose isn't as runny. So I was glad to see that it finally started to, that my body was finally able to start processing it, and having it take effect. That was awesome.
Very cool. Big round of applause. Jody, and then Amber, and then Leanna.
Well, I guess the only thing that comes to mind is I actually offered to do a couple of sessions for 2 different people, and they both flaked out. So I don't know if it's the lesson is that when you offer something for free, people don't value it, so they don't show up.
That is a great lesson to learn. So that deserves a big round of applause. Well done. Yeah. Cool. Amber, what went well since last time we met? And then Leanna. Are you there, Amber? I don't know if we can hear you.
I don't think she's quite connected.
Or Leanna, are you available? You're muted as well.
Okay, what was the question?
So we just want to hear one big takeaway, something you've learned or gained before the last, since the last time we met.
It's funny when you put up the
Are you there?
I have a question.
So before your question, you got to share one thing that went
Can you hear me?
well.
Okay. One thing that went well is that I had a big aha of a program that I had been believing in myself that I was not aware of, and it was a big one.
Very cool. Very cool. Big round of applause.
Woo!
Nice. Okay, and then Amber, are you with us yet?
Officially,
Hey.
the microphone is working, and so is the video. Okay. Sorry, what was the question?
So one big takeaway since the last time we met.
It's the last time we met.
One big takeaway, something that you've done that's been shifting.
So I've done lots of many different alignments, but the one I posted about on the group, to me, it has been fascinating to see how the anchor, bringing it back and anchoring, using it how it actually works, it's like night and day. I do exactly what it is to bring the anchor back, and it's perfect. Like I just barely did it, and I just cannot believe when I look at that whole picture what the possibilities are with aligning and being able to bring it back so quickly, especially when you need it to be good and work and don't have a lot of time and it takes seconds. That's been huge for me. So I've been texting my people or calling them and saying, are you remembering to bring back your alignment? And 3 of them were like, no, I totally forgot. So, and then 2 wrote really great messages to me after saying how much it helped. So I feel like this was the week of the significance of the anchor, I guess.
Very cool. Yeah. Big round of applause, virtual round of applause. Well done. Yeah, I did, going back to the allergies, I did one today on allergies because last week I had all sorts of like sinus stuff going on. And so I went out and I recorded it, and it'll be uploaded on the course and it'll be emailed to you. So you'll get to see how I did it. Took about 40 minutes, and it was very thorough. So I went through, and I had a lot of stuff, like it was pretty gnarly. So I went through it, and I went outside and I got a tissue and wiped all the pollen off of the windshield. And then I grabbed all sorts of flowers and dandelions and all sorts of things from the outside, put it in a plastic bag, and then I did a whole alignment on that. And I was like, it was crazy. I have never had such a big reaction. I was like itching and like coughing. You'll see in the video. It was like, and then by the time I was done, I was like, cool. I feel good. So it was very cool. Very, very cool. So that I'll show, it'll be uploaded to the online training, the abundance hacking technique and the examples. So you can check that out probably tomorrow. So, okay. Well done, everybody. So now we're going to dive into the next part. We are almost done teaching the whole piece of all this. And then on Thursday, we're going to get into selling your upsell. So you're done teaching, and then how do you go from teaching to transition to offer to the next level? And that's what we'll be teaching. So it's going to be new hat, and we're also today, by the time we're done, we're going to have you schedule. Actually, we're going to do that right now. When is your online training? So pick a date right now. After today, you're going to teach, and it needs to be within the next, let's see here. Needs to be within the next 3 weeks.
Good God.
So either next week or the week after.
So can we make this, is it by the 15th or by the 22nd?
Yeah, by the 15th.
So really 2 weeks. Well, okay.
2.5.
2.5.
So is this teaching our people or doing?
Yeah, you're officially going to teach your first class to whoever you enroll
Online?
for the next 2 weeks, live on webinar, just like this.
Okay.
Sweet. Do you generally find that it works better to do it on a Saturday?
I do most of mine on Saturdays, but if you're gonna break it up into multiple days, you could do like 3-hour chunks. Plus, everybody's home anyway, so with all the stuff, it doesn't really matter what day you pick.
Okay.
You could do Thursday, you could do Friday, you could do Saturday. Just tell people to block off a day or block off 2 to 3 nights in a row and have them do it that way.
So basically, we're going to be teaching it on Zoom.
I suggest doing that. Yeah, I mean, you can teach it any way you want, but Zoom's good.
But you have to have a paid account, right, to do Zoom because it cuts you off at 40 minutes.
Yep. Yep. So go get your paid account and go get a paid client.
Many paying clients.
Hey, Tyler, can I
Yeah.
ask my question? It's a lot off the subject, but
Yeah.
I
Just hold on one second. So I need everybody to pick a date right now. Put it in the chat box. When is your class? Put it in the chat box. When are you going to teach? So you could teach all the way up to the 16th. Okay. So I just need it anytime before the 17th. Anytime after 17th, no good. It has to be anytime before the 16th. Or before the 17th, I mean.
So are you
We
thinking
got
now,
Amber, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Cool. Very cool.
so are you thinking maybe 3-hour chunks on 3 consecutive days? Is that what we're
You might do that. Yeah, that could work. 2 to 3 hours a day for 3 days, or a full day from like 8 to 6.
How many hours?
Sorry, like 9 to 6. You could do 9 to
Okay.
6 with a break in between. So,
Uh-huh.
so you could do like here's about what time it'll take. So you've got I start mine at 9 and I end about 6. So with a 12 o'clock, 12 to 1 lunch. Okay.
Uh-huh.
We got 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay.
So yeah, like 9 hours.
So this is lunch break, 12 to 1. 9 to 10 is intro, and then getting 11 to 12. So you got intro here, and then teaching either the philosophy or the muscle testing part. So you're going to have all the philosophy, all the muscle testing. You're going to have all the beginning, and by lunch, you should be getting into the technique. And unless you taught like how we shared where you just dive right into the technique first, right? Depends which one you pick. So then by lunchtime, you should be getting into the beginning of the technique, going through the body, like into maybe through organs and glands, somewhere like that. Okay. And then this is kind of how I break it out here. So then like 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6. So 1 to 2, you could get into finish all the way up to because you'll handle questions, and then you'll get all the way up to like try to get through. If you could, it would be great to finish up to inhibitors. Then teach inhibitors and enablers. And anchoring. And then that'll give you like 2 hours left. So in those 2 hours, if you've taught it all, then you got to teach them how to align the foods, shortcuts, and then get into your offer. And so you use all the time depending on how much you answer questions. I mean, I used to do it 9 to 3. They used to do it from 9 to 3, and I got all the stuff during that time. So you can condense it for sure, but I like to teach a lot more and I like to practice a lot more. So if you've ever been into my stuff, which you have, I just like to go. So we go for a while because I want to make sure people get it, that they're practicing and into it. So that's kind of,
And we,
if you were going to break it into 3 days, yeah, I would do probably like 3-hour chunks, 2 to 3 hour chunks for 3 days. Or 1 day, anywhere from 9 to 6 or 9 to 5. Okay.
and if we do it live,
Yeah, it has to be live.
no, I'm talking about not being on Zoom. Do it in person.
Yeah, I mean, if people aren't worried about coming to you, yeah, that's fine. We just aren't teaching any live events until all this stuff is done. So, I mean, it's all virtual right now.
So I'm going to do mine on the 7th, 8th, and 9th also. I'm going to try a 3-day one.
Okay. So we've got Amber, 7, 8, 9, Leanna, 14th and 15th. Yeah, you could do 2-day chunks too, like 2 4-hour chunks or 2 3.5-hour chunks. And if you could teach it in 2 days, that'd be great. So,
Oh, maybe I'll do the 8th and the 9th then. That's a good idea.
yeah. Okay, good. Who else? What are you teaching? Time to get to action, folks. Don't worry, we're going to teach a little bit more. You'll have to practice and stuff, but this is time to schedule it. Bam, 12th and 13th. Awesome. Who else? We got only 3. We got 6 people here.
Well, I've lost you on Zoom. I don't know what happened.
Hey, Jody, when's yours?
I can hear you, but I don't see you.
When's yours, Jody?
I have no idea. I can't even see you right now.
You don't need to see me to pick a date. Just pick a date. When are you teaching? And Vicky, when are you doing yours?
I'm not.
You're not going to teach at all?
Nope.
So are you going to teach anything else outside of the AHT?
Probably not. I jumped into this because I really wanted to learn how to make the AHT very beneficial and really get to really understand it. I didn't jump into it to learn how to teach because, you know, that's not what I'm all about.
So as long as you feel like I would just explore to see if you want to go there, Vicky, because I know it's not like your mission or anything, but to do it and to teach it, you'll actually become 10 times more proficient at it. There's a lot of power. Stephen Covey talks about the way to master something is to teach it to someone else.
I'm very aware of that.
And so teaching, the reason why I would suggest, even if nobody wanted to make any money or to like actually be a teacher, is because I'll tell you all the reasons. Number one, it'll make you confront your own fears around rejection. That's huge because alignment is all about confronting. It's about experiencing transformation. So if I hide behind something, whether I can do it or not, because the thing is when I teach sales, I tell people, okay, go sell one-on-one. Go start there. Just because it'll get you good at it. And you confront things, you learn a lot, you grow, you find your passion, you find your gift. And then teach them to the next level, like now teaching groups, now teaching this, now teaching that. And what happens is as people start to teach, they get their own questions answered, they become more proficient, and they excel so much more because when you can focus on changing someone else's life, your life gets improved, your life changes. So the people who are always stuck the most, it's because we're so focused on ourselves. And I'm not saying that this is any of you, but this is just like theory here, that just from my experience in coaching thousands of people, when we want to change something, the best way to do it is to start to go share it with other people, because that makes us change. When we start to focus off of ourselves and focus on other people and how we can help bless someone else's life, our lives drastically and dramatically improve. So I would suggest to look into that, sleep on it. If you really want to get good at this for yourself or anything, then ask yourself, okay, could I teach? If so, here's how I always look at any opportunity. I say, am I doing this? Am I not doing it because it's not aligned with who I am and it doesn't fit what I'm doing in my life? It's not going to help me in any way. Or am I not doing it because I'm avoiding something? Because of a fear, a doubt, an uncertainty. And if it's any one of those, then I say I'm doing it because I know I'm going to change and it's going to help me. And it's not easy, but it shows the level of growth. So I'm just going to invite you to explore that, okay? Because as you look through that and go into it, I've talked to you many times, and from what you've said and what you do, you have a natural gift for teaching. And we have a very powerful gift of healing. And so I believe people are given gifts to expand them. This is just my philosophy. I believe that we are given a gift, and if we expand it, our gift is increased. And we get better as we share the light with other people as well. So that's why I like to help people teach. That's why teaching how to teach is one of my favorite things, because you guys are going to get the best results out of anybody else who does these techniques. You will, just because of that principle there. And that's what I want to, like, I could care less if you make money at it. I could care less about anything. I just want you guys to actually get what you're in for. And if you're in to master it, to really work on yourself, then I suggest, why not? Even just pick one person and go teach them. Teach them in a day and say, hey, I got this awesome technique. I'd love to teach you. Just pay me $200, $350 or whatever. And go teach them, whether it's in person, like come to your house or something, or via Zoom, but do it, because that'll show you all the questions that you have, and that'll help you confront things, it'll help you grow, and it'll help you learn, and you're blessing someone else's life. And so treat it spiritually, in my opinion. Look at it, ponder on it, meditate on it, and ask yourself, what good would this do me if I did this? And then ask, what would I miss out on if I didn't do this? And weigh it. And if you're fine with either one, then just pick it and be like, if you're like, no, really, I don't want to teach, totally cool. But I want you to think it through and really analyze it and understand why you would not want to teach or why you would want to teach. And then decide, because you're at full cause, not out of avoidance. Okay? Cool.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yep. And then, well, I think Leanna had a question first. So Leanna, what was your question? You're muted, I think. And then we're going to get into teaching, so hold tight.
Okay, well, this is just something that has been like, this is something, this is another thing I recognized. I've had a lot of adversity about doing it, doing this.
Doing
and
what?
I'm a little bit scared to ask you this, but the question that keeps coming up in my mind is that stops me from doing this modality is that, what if I align someone to something that they want that's not in alignment with God? What's your
Very cool question. So the
like,
question,
is that?
yeah, let me mute everybody because there's a little bit of feedback going on.
Yeah, because if that's
Oops.
part of it, you know what I mean? If
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah. So why is that a fear?
Because I know that for myself, some of the things I want aren't always in alignment with God.
And why are you afraid of that?
And then, well, because I don't want to go down a path that's aligned somebody to that.
Yeah, and what if you did align somebody and they went down a path that wasn't God's will? What would happen? I don't know if Leanna can hear me anymore. Hey, Leanna, I'm gonna stop your video, but keep your audio going, okay? We'll see if it picks. So Leanna, we can't hear you.
Be like another something.
So Leanna, I think we lost you. Okay, so I'm gonna unmute you, but leave your video. Can you hear us now, Leanna?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
There we go. Okay, so I didn't hear a single thing you just said for the past 2 minutes, so start back. So.
My video keeps going back. Okay, so I was just saying that I don't want to align somebody to something that's not meant for them, because then that they're gonna have to fix, and it won't serve them. I don't know. That's what I feel like. I feel like I would be taking their money for something that they were expecting that I wasn't actually doing for them.
So if somebody comes to you and wants to align to something, so this is a deeper question than what you're really asking, and it's based on your own fears and experiences, right? So I get what you're saying, but there's a deeper question that you need to ask yourself to really align to yourself. And here's the thing: if I'm coaching someone and I align them to something that's not God's will, or they want something and I align them to it. Well, first off, the opening statement, what does it say when you open the door? The whole statement is that it's going to do no harm to anyone else. It's going to be for their greatest good. It's harmlessly and blamelessly, all that stuff. So it sets it up that way. Now, let's say I align somebody to something that is not God's will. Is it my job to know what is God's will versus not for that person?
No, it's not your job.
No, but I get what you're saying.
I just don't want to be an advocate for the other side, I guess.
Yeah. So are you going to align people to so what would be an alignment? Let's take this down an extreme. So let's say someone comes to you and is like, okay, Leanna, I would love for you to align me to what? What's a really bad thing that somebody would want you to align to?
I don't know.
Well, think about it, because there's a fear. So there's got to be something that you're afraid of. So what would be something that would be contrary to God's will for somebody and you'd be afraid to align them to it?
Well, I could think of an obvious thing that I don't think anyone would ever ask me for that.
Well, say it out loud, because these are your fears speaking, and fears are really stupid once they're voiced.
Like somebody who is suicidal.
Great. So they come to you and they're like, Leanna, can you align me so that I can kill myself? First,
I would say no if they asked me that.
So then what if somebody came to you and says, hey, Leanna, can you align me so that I can cheat on my husband without any guilt?
I would say no to that too.
Cool. So if somebody came to you and say, hey, Leanna, I really want to sell more drugs and my drug business is not doing so hot. Can you align me so that I can make more money in my drug business?
Well, it depends on if they're a pharmacist or not.
This is the non-pharmaceutical drug under the.
Oh, okay. Okay, I probably say no then.
Okay, and if they came to you and said, hey, I really have the gumption to just want to kill somebody, but I have all this doubts and fears. Can you align me so that I will have no regrets and I can go kill so-and-so?
I didn't hear what the last part was.
Yeah, so if somebody came to you.
That's what I think it is. I would probably say no.
You probably know. Okay. So here's the thing. Our fears are very interesting things. What are you really afraid of? Well, maybe fears reflect our previous and past experiences. So if I'm afraid to align someone because I'm afraid that they'll do something that's against God's will, what does that imply in my life? It means somewhere in my life, I have desired something or thought I wanted something and came to the conclusion that it wasn't God's will, but I wanted to force it. I wanted to make it really so. Or I wanted to be aligned to God's will, but I felt like all the time I was not doing God's will. Now, most of that is not true. Most of those things are just in our head, and it can be changed because they're addictive and allergic cycles. So the whole point is, can you trust yourself to help people improve no matter what you do for them?
Yeah. I
So you're fading in and out again, Leanna.
I feel like all good things come from God, right? That's in the
Cool.
scriptures. But
Yeah.
I just feel like if I align somebody to something that they trauma, that to go through trauma thing. I see what you're saying. I'll have to ponder more on responsibility. I understand that, like, to know what's them, right? And I don't want that. But
Yeah.
I guess I just have been thinking about it and thinking I don't really want any part of it if I'm like contributing to somebody's like a I guess trauma is the word that's coming to mind. Like, it's so hard that I put my heart into that it's something is off or not right. It's really hard for me to get past that or to change because I'm like on a train, right? On a train track, change train track sometimes. And so if I put somebody on a train track, that's not right for them. I feel like it's going to make it harder for them, although I know that they would learn from it. Or these are other thoughts like that God put them in my path so that I could do that. That could be part of the plan. I don't know, but for them to learn, I don't know. All of those thoughts come to my mind.
Yeah.
Kind of because it's literally the thing that has stopped me from doing the homework and everything, that thought. And so I know I just need to do it, but for my heart to be in it, I need to resolve that question. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it sounds like you are addicted to the fear of hurting someone.
That could be true. That's very possible.
And that addiction is making you allergic to actually the success that you desire.
Yeah, because I know I can be successful at this.
Totally. Yeah, there's no reason you wouldn't unless you're addicted or allergic. And you didn't address it, right? So let me just share some context here, Leanna, and it's a little hard to hear you. So I'm just going to share some things and hopefully it hits. If we're afraid to go help people as healers, as coaches, our goal is not to save anyone. And if you believe what you do, no matter your intention, like if you intend it to help, even if somebody comes to you and they do the wrong alignment or they don't do the right thing, but they want to improve their life in some way and you help them, then in my opinion, you have done good. Okay? And if I worry about it all the time and I'm like, oh my goodness, what if I help somebody? If I do it thinking that I'm going to help them, but it actually does them harm. Well, what does that show? It shows that I don't trust them enough, and I don't trust God enough, and I don't trust myself enough. Because if I trust myself and I have a hammer and it's a tool and the tool builds things and it could also destroy things if I chose to whack people with it, but I choose to believe I'm a good person. And I choose to believe any person who comes to me and asks, hey, can you use that hammer on me to help me? I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to do my best to help them. And with that intention, I'm going to say, if something happens in their life that throws them off, was that because of me? You might think it is if you are addicted to saving people. But what I know it is they had some sort of addictive thing that manifested that result in their life, that until they confront it, they're going to continue struggling, suffering, and going down the wrong path. So it is my job to set the example, help shine the light, help shift it for them. And if they struggle somewhere, or if they struggled in another thing, then awesome. That's a great opportunity for them to learn. And I don't want to rob people of that. So instead of trying to solve everything for everybody, I know that if someone comes into my world, I'm there to grow and let my light change them. I'm not there to force them. And some of them, they're going to come out worse working with me because they choose to. They will. It's just a numbers thing. People pay me. Some of them will have regrets because they're addicted to regrets and they're not going to confront it. Some of them will feel bad. Some of them will spend years worrying and thinking, man, what Tyler did just didn't help. Oh, I bought that program and it did no good. And that, to me, I hope that they will continue to get that in their life until they hit rock bottom or enough desire to change so that they can actually do good on the planet. Because that frequency is not serving them. It's frequencies of regret, frequency of fear, frequency of doubt, frequency of what if, frequency of looking back in the past. That shows people are stuck. And if someone's stuck all the time in the past, they cannot live in the present. They can't have joy. It's very difficult. And then they're going to use the past to fuel the future, and it's just going to repeat the same cycles over and over, which are the addicted and allergic responses. So it's not our job to solve everybody's problems. Our job and mission is to align people and help them live what they want to live for the greatest good of them and all involved. And if you do that, then everything's going to work great.
Yeah, I guess that shows me a lot of alignment that I need to do on myself. But I think it's because of what I'm trying to heal right now. Because the beginning of the year, I've had a lot of traumatic things happen. So I've had to look at my past, and there has been a lot of regret for me.
Yeah.
And a lot of, not fear, but just sadness for things that I've caused. And so I can see that coming out in that question.
Yeah. Every time we fear something for someone else, it's because of a reflection of something inside of us. So knowing that, we can say, okay, what do I need to align? What am I allergic to? What am I addicted to? I was talking to my mom, and I'm doing some coaching with them, her relationship. And it's very interesting to see that dichotomy and the addictive cycles all the time. And where one person goes and has their addictive behavior, the other person doesn't keep their commitment because this person didn't keep theirs. So in my mind, I don't care like the level of the thing that they do, whether it's like looking at porn or going and drinking alcohol or whatever it might be. If someone has committed and they say, I'm not doing this thing, then they break that commitment. Whereas their partner simultaneously commits, I'm going to be nice, I'm going to love them, I'm going to do this thing. But then when it becomes conditional on them keeping their commitment, they're now not keeping their commitment. So they're just as guilty and culpable as the other person, no matter how extreme the thing that they're going through. So I see the reflection all the time in two couples. And the key is to say, okay, am I keeping my commitments in my life? Am I doing my best to be honest, to be true, to be working on myself, to keep doing the things that I need to say? Because if I get out of integrity, I know it's going to affect everyone around me. I know when I lie, it's deeper than a lie because that frequency continues very far. When I commit to something and I don't do it, that's a lie. When I think that I can't afford something, that's a lie. When I think that I can't do it, that's a lie. When I think that, oh, I'm going to hurt somebody, that's a lie. So a lot of times we are lying to ourselves so much that it affects our integrity. We don't feel good enough. We don't feel like we deserve it anymore because we've wrapped around all these stories, these lies that pile on, and it feels real. It feels like it's the truth. But the reality is to say, is this real or is this my interpretation? And if it's an interpretation, is it an addiction or an allergy? And let's align those suckers because they are not serving us, right?
I think it comes down to what you were saying about trusting yourself.
Yeah.
you know,
So Leanna, what do you need to do to trust yourself?
I need to follow through with what I commit to.
That's a great start. Yeah.
And I need to tell myself that I trust myself with the evidence, but I probably should align to it.
Yeah. And then don't look in the past. Okay. So today is a new day. If you should have done something yesterday or a week ago or a month ago, then you just got to reset and say, cool, regardless of what I have or have not done, what is my commitment today that I will do and I choose to do? And when you can live out of that, you move forward very quickly. We get caught up so much in the, oh, I should have studied more. Oh, I committed to do this course, but I didn't show up. Oh, I committed to this thing and I didn't do that. I committed to my family and I didn't do that. Committed to this client and I didn't do that. I committed to God and I didn't do any of that. And we have all these commitments that we break and break and break and break to where pretty soon we feel like there's nothing in our word. Our word has no power. The alignment is all about words and power. So someone who really struggles getting in alignment, what does that tell me about them? I know that they're all the time out of integrity with themselves. They're lying all the time. They say they're going to do something and they don't. Because they break their commitment so quick that it rejects the frequency so fast. So this is getting a little deeper, but this is really why people don't stay in alignment, is because they get out of integrity with themselves, which is why we have to anchor so often sometimes. Like today, I had to re-anchor my allergy thing because there was a slight moment where my wife was talking to me about business stuff. And one moment I got into this feeling of thinking, and it was an overwhelm. And immediately I knew, oh, I'm out of integrity with myself because I'm allowing and choosing myself to be overwhelmed by what she's saying. And therefore now all of a sudden I have a slight headache and it feels like the pollen is affecting me. And so then I knew I just totally threw off my alignment because I was totally being a douchebag in my head and I was not keeping my alignment of who I am. So I had to re-tap, anchor, and then I forgive myself. And then all of a sudden headache goes away and I'm back in alignment. So like, I get it. We're talking about allergies and addictions and alignments and like selling and all this fun stuff. But really the core of all this, everything we do, is helping people be in integrity with themselves. So what they say actually means something. When you say, I'm going to go make this money, I'm going to go be this for my spouse, I'm going to go do this with my kids. That statement, when you align it, that's what you're doing. You're putting your body in integrity, in alignment to every word and frequency in there, which is so powerful. Words have power, and we could get into a whole spiritual conversation about in the beginning and how everything was through word, created life itself. And we could get into the power of words and the frequencies behind every thought, every word, every emotion. And hopefully you've gotten a little bit of a glimpse through this course to see that your words mean something, guys. Every single one of you, your thoughts, your words have an effect on your results. And if you're struggling, if you're not getting where you want to go, there is always words tied to why you're not getting there. And those words could be in feeling form or thought form. But if you're not getting where you're going, it's because something is addicted, something's keeping you stuck, or something is keeping you away from it. Allergic. You're pushing it away. So as we get into alignment and integrity, now we can see something, we can say it, we can choose it, we can do it without the resistance. You guys following this? Okay. Turn to the person next to you, give them a high five and say, I got this. Say, I'm in integrity with myself. Pat yourself on the back. Say, I speak words of power, right? Okay, thanks, Leanna, for bringing that up, because I feel like that's really important. We need to remember the core of why we do this and know that if you feel like you're afraid to do good or do bad, then that is a sign of something that you can change. which is awesome. It presents an opportunity for growth. And that's how we have to look at it. Any type of resistance is just an awesome opportunity to shift and change. So if someone's like, oh, I don't want to go do my class, I don't want to teach it. Awesome. Let's figure that out. Why not? Let's change it. Let's shift it. And then all of a sudden you have more light, you have more impact, you're more healthy, you're more happy, you're just doing more good on the planet. And yeah, there's so much to this, but I don't know if you get it. It's like, how can you get something when it's so, like you just need to feel it. So I don't have the words to describe what I want to say. So you're just going to have to get it through my facial expressions and my, you got to feel the shifts. And it can't just be stuck in these addictive cycles over and over and over. You got to look at those as opportunities and say, sweet, I am super struggling right now. Awesome. What do I need to shift? And if you're like, oh, I can't even think about shifting, awesome. Reach out to somebody, ask for help. And if you can't even think about reaching out for somebody and asking for help, do some breath patterns and just get out of your mind and go veg for a minute and then start over. There's always a way out. There always is. Okay? Very cool?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to teach the next piece. But I want that context as you teach. Okay?
I thought Amber had a question.
Amber, did you have a question?
I can,
There you go. I unmuted you.
sorry. I did, yeah. I can save it for later. That's fine.
Real quick.
Okay. But first, really quick, am I
think Annalyn had a question as well, but go ahead, Amber.
So am I kind of out of touch a little bit when all the stuff that you just gave as examples, like if someone said, I'd like to, help me cheat on my husband and not feel bad about it. While you're asking each of those, I'm thinking, yes, I would totally align that. Yeah, I totally would. Because I genuinely believe that no bad can come of it, because like we were talking, if you say something that's like when we're doing tapping and breathing, we can say the negative or the positive, right? At that time. And
Yeah.
but it's gonna just do the good part. But is that maybe I'm too?
Yeah, if somebody came to me, there's how I would handle it. And they're like, hey, I'm like cheating on my husband. I feel really guilty. Can you help me remove that guilt? I would ask, yeah, let's dive into it real quick. Let's see what you really want.
Right, figure out why.
Because they don't want to cheat on their husband. That's not what they really want.
No.
They don't want to really do drugs. They don't want, those are perceived wants. So
Right.
I'm going to follow the thread and ask, cool. So if you didn't feel guilty cheating on your husband, how would that make you feel? Oh, I'd feel better. I'd feel like more ideal. I'd feel happy. Cool. So if you felt happy, that's what they're looking for. They want to be happy. They want to do this. So if I line them to, I am able to feel happy, XYZ,
Right.
and then I would talk to them. And if their moral code is totally wacko, like they're like, dude, I really just like, I'm going to steal from people and be okay. I could just say, hey, my goal is to help you help yourself. If you're here, then we're going to confront what's real. And so you might not like me because I'm going to challenge it, and totally cool. You'll find somebody else who's willing to work on you. That's where you set your integrity lines as well of who you'll help and who you won't.
Right.
But most people, if they get it, well, not most, anybody who gets into my world, I know that I am there to help them change. So there is no one ever who would come to me that is out of integrity who would want to stay out of integrity, really. Because if they're in my space, then by law, by how I've set up my world, I know that that person is there to change their life for real. Even if they think it's for fake things, if they're in my world, then there is a reason for that, and they are going to get a real transformation.
Okay.
So I look at it all as your own personal power. If you are in your power, then anybody who gets around in your world is there for a reason, and you have a right and a privilege and a duty to help change their world.
Totally. Yeah. I thank you. I agree. And I definitely agree with like talking to them and coming up with a different statement, even if they're initially saying that's their want. But do you feel personally that there's anything that like that we could really align someone to, especially with how it starts at the beginning, that it would really be bad and hurt?
No one that I'm teaching.
Okay. All right.
None of
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Thank you.
Not how I've set up anybody who learns from me. So.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
And my other question is, when we go to teach online and people are going to be paying for that, if we don't have some way to do that, I was trying to think through it when we were all picking our dates, but
What do you mean?
like, so I don't have like a way to take money, I
Yeah,
guess.
we can talk about that on Thursday or on the day after, because we'll get into sales, taking payments and all that.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of excuse me, little details that we can dive into in payment processing and all that. But
Okay.
PayPal is really easy. I mean, it's super simple. Like, that's the easiest thing you can do.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. Okay, thanks.
All right, cool. So let's dive in. We're going to teach the last part here, and I'm going to share my screen. Let me pull this up. Get out your PDFs or your forms if you have it. I'm going to bring up mine. If I find it here. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to share. Okay, can you guys see this okay? Yeah, see it? Thumbs up? Okay, so we're gonna have, we already reviewed this. I'm just gonna have, when you're teaching this, so we're going into enablers. So I'm gonna have Jody kick us off. Just start from we've just finished inhibitors, now we're rolling into enablers, and go ahead and teach us. And I'm just going to give you like a few minutes, because really all you do is talk about what enablers are, and then have people, you just read the whole thing together and define some. Okay. So I'll just have you do it for a few minutes, because that's pretty much it. And then when people have questions, you answer the questions, and then you just do a couple alignments on each other for aligning some enablers. So go for it, Jody.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand what enabler, like a definition is, but
So let's talk about that. What does enable mean?
it means to allow or to encourage, enable somebody to do something.
Yeah. So you are aligning with things that will allow you to do more.
Okay, so let me ask you this question then. If you're going to assume that they're already aligned with everything unless it shows that it's weak.
Correct. Just like everything
Okay.
else, except for the inhibitors.
Okay, so we're going to start with enablers, and so you're going to say your statement, and regarding this statement, you're going to ask yourself if you're 100% aligned with that statement or food or object, and if you have, and if it is still off, then you will want to align with whatever enabler you're not in alignment with. So for instance, if we were going through and you were fine with, you were strong with, it is my choice, I am fully responsible, but then you get to, I alone created this, and you're weak, you're going to want to align to this, and you're going to do the process of tapping from the beginning of your forehead back to your
Yeah, and you've already taught by now they've already done that, so you can just say, just do the alignment, right? Because now
Okay.
we're coming up on the last part of the day. They're already gotten like 20 times at least. So now it's pretty easy. You don't have to go into that much depth. Cool.
And just be sure and make sure that once you've aligned 100% to check for your modes, And if you have a mode that's off, be sure and align with that and go through your list.
Okay, so then where would you go from there?
You're gonna, pardon me?
So then keep teaching us.
You're gonna go through the whole list of enablers and muscle test through. And if you have one that's weak, you're going to want to align with it.
Okay, so pause. So before you just have people go, you're gonna start and just make sure they get and understand all of it. So you'd say, okay, so good intro. So it's like, here's the whole point. Here's what we're gonna do. Now we're just gonna read over them. If you have questions on them, just ask, and then we'll go through it. So let's do round robin. Ready, go. Just read the first one and go down, and then stop on it. Or you could just verbally say it. It is my choice, and just say, hey, if one of these is confusing or you don't get it, raise your hand or stop me. I'm fully responsible. I alone create this. This is important that they hear it all. That gives them the context, okay? Because if you're like, hey, here's all the things, go check it, it's too overwhelming, and you need to go one by one just to make sure everybody understands all of the parts. And now they have an idea of all the enablers, so now they know and can go through it bulk. Okay, very good. Big round of applause for Jody. Okay, we need one more person to just practice this, or two more, who would like to just run through real fast and just teach us about the enablers. Whoever would, unmute yourself and start. Any takers?
Hey, Tyler, I can do it, but I have a question. How do you explain, like, what are enablers? Like, why did you call them enablers?
Good. So I have inhibitors, which prohibit, they stop someone from getting something. Enablers help you to do that thing. So if you have an enabler, you want to be aligned to all the enablers, because the more you are aligned to it, then the easier it will be to achieve that thing.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I was having a hard time coming up with that in my head.
Yep.
And then inhibitors would stop you from doing it, which makes sense.
Yep. So inhibitors are like the negative things that you don't want to be aligned to. Enablers are the positive things that you do want to be aligned to.
Okay. So do you want me to just do enablers then?
Yep, teach us.
Okay. So, all right, guys, now we're going to learn about aligning with enablers. These are the positive things that you want to have your body aligned with so that you can get the thing that you want. So let's look at just the very first one. The first one says, it is my choice. So what I would do is I would muscle test. I would say, it is my choice regarding my statement, and see if I got a yes or a no. So everybody go ahead and muscle test right now, and then tell me what you get on this one. It is my choice. What do you get? Jody, are you getting a yes or a no on that one?
I got a yes.
Okay, Pam? Okay, cool. I think she's muted, but I think she said yes. Vicky, what'd you get on it is my choice?
I got a yes.
Okay. Amber, what did you get?
I got a yes. I was just looking for a no for you, but yes.
Oh, okay. Leanna, what did you get?
I got a yes.
Okay, so back to Amber. Did you find any of these? Amber went ahead. She's like checking for us. Did she find any of these enablers where she got a no?
I did, yeah. And I'm,
Okay.
shoot. It's I am forgiven.
Okay, so everybody, let's practice with Amber. Let's say we get down to I am forgiven and we get a no. So since we all got a yes on it is my choice, we don't have to do the tapping thing on that because we know that's already good. But Amber found one that isn't, and it's I am forgiven. So everybody test on I am forgiven. Do you get a yes or a no?
No.
No.
Yes.
Okay, so some no's and some yeses. So let's pretend like we all got a no, and let's just show me what you would do if you got a no. You ready?
Align.
Okay, so you got your statement. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. And then pant like a dog. And smile.
Okay, good. Stop. Big round of applause. Very good. So yeah, very simple. And then you go through it and just have them practice and make sure that they understand all the different words here. And that's kind of it. Cool. Pretty simple, yeah? One little pro tip. When we get to inhibitors or enablers, this is an interesting part. When I'm going through people and aligning them, on certain ones, people have a lot of emotion tied to it. So for Amber, it was like, I am forgiven. And she's like, oh. So a lot of times when I teach, I say, hey, if you've got an inhibitor that's blocking you or stopping you, or if you have an enabler that's not in alignment, don't tie any meaning to it. Don't tie any guilt or shame. Just align it because it's good. And so sometimes I'll be working on somebody and it's like, oh, I love my spouse and they're totally weak. I'm like, cool, let's align you. Because all it does is show that some part of them has that frequency, that something around love or that person is making them weak. A lot of times we try to interpret it of like, oh no, like I should have this forgiveness because I'm a Christian, or I should have this because of this, or I should have done this because I'm 70 years old and I should have processed all of my emotions by now. But whatever it is, the key is to just remove any emotional tie to it and be like, cool, let's align it. Like, awesome. You'll find just as you do it more and more, sometimes it's funny. Like when I'm like I did my alignment today on my allergies, and one of them popped up where it was like something that I did not expect. And it kind of threw me for a loop. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Cool. Just align. Because knowing like what I know, I'm like, huh, I wouldn't have thought that wouldn't be aligned, but who cares? Let's align it. So things could be totally weird, but we're not here to judge people. We're not here to judge ourselves. The whole point is if something's off, what do?
Align it.
Align. And that's the key. So be sure and focus on that when you're teaching. Like the whole point to the alignment is align. Like if you're struggling, align. If you're super negative, align. If your positive things aren't working, align. If you think you should do something, align. Like just all the time, just align, right? Very cool.
Tyler,
Yeah.
can I just say, like when you asked us at the first, like something cool that we learned this week, my favorite thing that I've been working on this week is what you told us about muscle testing. Like if you start getting weird answers, like ask a couple of yes or no questions that you already know the answer to. And I found out like most of the time my name is not Anna Lynn. Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
So then I know, okay, fix it. And then I can actually get a real answer.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, like even today when I was doing my alignment, there was a point where I was sitting down because I was cross-legged, my circulation was getting cut off because I was sitting down on the floor doing it. And I started to get kind of lightheaded. So I knew my muscle testing was not effective. So I stood up, walked around, like shook it off. And then what is yes, what is no, what is yes, what is no. My name's Tyler. Cool. Now we're back in. So I have to like reset consistently too, because I can't maintain muscle testing for like hours upon hours upon hours. Like it's a lot of focus. It's a lot of energy. And so if you do it for 10 minutes, you might have to get some water or whatever, reset. Because especially if you get repetitive, I go about after 20 minutes and I'm like, okay, I need to change it up. Get back. Am I really getting solid answers? And I'm okay if I don't, because I'm not tied to it. Right? Very cool. Okay, now we're going to get into the anchoring. So once you go through this, then at the end you share, okay, is there anything else that is resisting or needs to be aligned? Align it. Then this is where you celebrate. Yay, you guys just learned how to do the full alignment. Give yourselves a hand. Woo-hoo. Yay, anybody can align. You're so cool. Awesome. Way to go. Now it's going to be practicing, right? So then you're going to go into teaching the anchor. So this is how I would teach it. I say, cool, regarding the anchor, the whole point of the anchor is think about frequencies, right? So if I want something in my life and I have that frequency, I'm tuned into that signal, but then life happens and it throws off the signal. It changes the channel. It gets distorted. It's hard to feel it again. The anchor tunes it back in and brings back everything you did to 100%. Sweet. So what does that mean? It means you don't have to do 2 hours every time over and over and over. You do it one time and then you just anchor it and then you can bring it back. So then you teach them this. So then you say, cool, this is how you do it. Regarding this statement, I'm 100% aligned on every level. If so, move to the anchor. If not, figure out what's off. So we're going to assume we're all 100% aligned. Remember, as you're teaching, they're not going to be 100% aligned because there's no way you could go through all of it and do a full alignment. Teaching this, you might be able to if you're really good at it, but I don't think so. because that's a lot. So don't expect them to be, you're just going to hypothetically say, okay, imagine we aligned everything. Now we're going to anchor. So then you get into this and say, okay, I realign and stay aligned. Make sure you're aligned to the statement. To this anchor, it brings back the statement to 100% and shields me from any opposing frequency. If you're strong, continue. If weak, then align and then move to the next one. So then you just ask, where's the best anchor point? You're going to use body scanning or muscle testing or just your intuition to say, okay, based on this thing, where do I want this to be aligned? So today when I did my allergies, I felt like my lungs wanted it. So I just hit these 2 points here and was like, okay, I'm going to do it, and checked for the number. And it was 0 to 10, 10 to 20. Okay, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 17 times. Then you can take the substance or the food or the object, look at it, tap that number, 17, put it down. Look at it, tap 17, put it down. Look at it, tap 17, or whatever number you have, and do that total of 3 times, and now it's set. So anytime you feel like the symptoms come back, just tap that time, 17 points, and it brings back the whole alignment, or whatever specifically. Okay? So that's how I would teach it. And then I'd have them practice anchoring it. Cool?
I have a question about anchoring.
Yep.
So in my head, it seems like it should work like, let's say I only get halfway done with an alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Can I do the, have you usually done the anchor process and just say, my intention is for this to anchor everything I've done so far, so that the next time I come back to this, I can just start from there?
Yeah, that's in, I think it's in the course. It's if like the question, if you have to stop, then you just anchor it. When you come back, re-stimulate the anchor, and then ask, if it took a while and you didn't use the anchor, I would just double check and ask, is everything that I previously worked on still 100% aligned? And then double check if there might be a couple things off, go back, hit those things, then continue the alignment, and then re-anchor it in, and it'll continue it. So anytime you anchor it, it'll do whatever you've done. And then you come back, you can refresh the anchor, check to make sure it's 100% all the stuff, and then continue, redo the anchor, and it'll include anything there. Same with if you anchor it and some new stimulus comes at you that you didn't align, then you can refresh the anchor. If it didn't do anything, that means there's some outside source that you missed that is throwing it off. So then you could redo the anchor, align to whatever you need to align, and then reset the anchor by doing the 3 repetitive process. And now it will include the thing that was thrown off. Does that make everybody follow that? Give me a thumbs up if you followed that. Give me a thumbs in the middle if you did not. Thumbs down. Okay, cool. So let's get 2 people to practice this real fast. Who would like to practice, who hasn't yet tonight?
I haven't. I'll do it.
Go for it, Pam.
Can you hear me? Because I was muted. I'm not muted. Okay. Okay, so now that we've all learned how to do the complete process, yay, give yourselves a hand. And the last thing that we're going to learn to do is how to anchor the alignment. So what anchoring will do is it will bring your body back to the frequency that you just worked on, okay? So your results will keep going. So the first thing you do is you ask the question regarding this statement or substance, am I 100% aligned on every level that I am aware of and unaware of? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, good. Then you keep going. And you ask, I align and stay aligned and accept the anchor that brings this statement to 100% alignment and shields from any opposing frequency. So yes or no with that? If it's yes, great, keep going. So the next thing you want to do is locate it on your body, either intuitively or I find intuitively is the best way. So pick a spot in your body and use muscle testing to see if it's the right spot, see if it's the best place. And then you do muscle testing to figure out how many taps you need to anchor it in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. Everyone with me so far? I can't see all of you, but yes, no, thumbs up, thumbs down, paying attention. Okay, good. Okay, so the next thing you do, Tyler, I need you to push, like, it's not all there. Oh, okay. So then to finish the alignment, the anchor, and you've got your spot on your body, right? And you've got the number. You tap the spot on your body, the number of times you got likes. So I got 10. So tap 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look away from the statement and repeat this 3 times in a row. So look away and then tap 10 times. And look away and then tap 10 times. And look away and then tap 10 times. And there you go. And now you're anchored. So the deal is you want to do that every time you feel like your alignment might go off a little bit. Just tap that spot 10 times or whatever your number is, and you're good. And it'll come snap right back into an alignment. Does that make sense? Yes? No? Cool.
Cool. Awesome. So then right then would be a good time. Let's all practice.
That's all. Okay.
Right? And get us to do it. Cool. Big round of applause. Way to go, Pam. Okay, who else? One more. Vicky, all right. Great job volunteering.
Thanks, Tyler. Okay, now that we have gone through all of the organs and systems and everything else, we're ready to what's called anchor in the whole process. And so when you anchor in something, it helps it to really stay inside of you, helps you to be able to really be aligned with the statement. So you take your statement and you check to make sure that you're aligned on every level with it. And if you get a yes, then you go down to B, which is check and see if make sure that you are ready to anchor the statement. And Pam, can I get you to read that statement that right here that I am
Which one?
Under B, it says state I realign.
I realign and stay aligned and accept the anchor that brings back the statement to 100% alignment and shields from any opposing frequency.
Okay, so that's the statement that we're aligning to, and so you'll muscle test it, and if you get a yes, then you go ahead and go to the next statement. But if you get a no on it, then you need to go ahead and do the alignment technique, which you all know because we have been practicing it. Okay, so after you read that statement and make sure you're aligned to it, then you find a place to anchor it. And what I do when I anchor it, as I usually say, is that do I need to anchor on the top half of my body? And if I get a yes, then I say on the left hand side or the right hand side. And when you get it, and then you just go through and just try to find the best place to anchor it on your body will let you know. And you can do it intuitive if you feel like you're comfortable with that, or you can do it with muscle testing. So once you find your place, let's say that you found your place and it was on your heart. And so then you go through and you ask, okay, how many times do I need to anchor this? How many taps do I need to do? And you'll muscle test 1 to 10, 10 to 20, and that one came out between 10 and 20. So then you'll go 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So it broke on 16, so you'll tap it 16 times. And what you do is you take your statement and you look at it and you tap on your heart 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 times. Then you look away from it and then you bring it back and you look at it and you tap another 16 times. Look away from it and bring it back and look at it and tap another 16 times. So you do that 3 times, and then that way it's really anchored into you. And if by any chance something throws it off, you can bring back the whole alignment just by tapping on that one place the 16 times, or however many times you came up with that you needed to tap to anchor it in. Now, are there any questions that anybody might have on that process?
Okay, well done. Round of applause. Okay, very good. Yeah, so now let's just talk a little bit about shortcuts, okay, when you're teaching shortcuts. So this is the small piece that you'll need to show around food. These are the added additional pieces. So be sure when you're teaching the shortcuts, one is aligning to foods, because it's a little different, right, when you do foods. So if the person severely start with limiting beliefs after opening the door, sometimes that's what you have to do. If someone's really allergic, then you just have them think of it and work through their limiting beliefs. So they just state the thing like, I'm super afraid to even work on this. Great. And align. And you just work through all the limitations, because that'll get them to even just be okay working on it. Make sense? So that's one of the methods you have to do. The other part is, after you align organs, glands, and chakras, put the food on their chin, recheck. Okay, so you put the food on their chin. So if I had a food substance, let's imagine this, this marker's food, and I do all this organs, glands, chakras, then I'll put it on my chin and I'll ask, and I can tap it 3 times to lock it in, or I could set it there, either way. And I would ask, are all of my organs still 100% aligned to this food? Are all of my glands 100% aligned still to this food? Are all of my chakras still 100% aligned? Okay, because what happens is as you move it closer to the mouth, some of the, imagine this, like, do not want to use the Sharpie on this. Okay, so imagine you've got your body here and you align, here's the food substance, and you align it all. But then you put it here, and by putting it closer to the mouth, there's my smiley face. When you put it closer to the, oh, excuse. There we go. So when you put it closer to the mouth, it's like introducing a whole nother wave of interpretations throughout your organs and glands. So you put it on your chin, then you put it on your mouth, which introduces the next gradient. So it's like gradient 1 on the chin, gradient 2 on the mouth, on the lip, and now the body could be freaking out again. So then you just ask, are all my organs still 100% aligned? Are all my glands still 100% aligned? All my chakras? And you're just checking to see what gets thrown off. Okay? Then you can put it in your mouth, or if they're hyperallergic, then you just have them imagine putting it in their mouth. Okay? And then do it that way. So you have them put it in their mouth, recheck, and then you imagine or have them actually swallow, and then recheck again. So there's 4 rechecks. How many?
4.
Okay, that's important when you're using, especially severe allergies. Then repeat. So yeah, so that's it. After completing added parts, finish the whole process like normal. Check for any limiting beliefs or concerns at each level. If they don't want to put the food somewhere, visualize it, have them check again until aligned. Any type of thing that's caused them a reaction, have them think about it. Ask them. I like to do things like, say things like, and I like to check a bunch of positive phrases outside of the enablers too, where it's like, I am capable of eating this now. This food is good for me. I can eat lactose with no reactions. Cool. I am ready to eat lactose. I could eat lactose right now. I could eat it forever and not have any negative reactions. So you just try to think of any type of projection that might throw it off. And this is where you just got to be kind of creative to say, okay, what could throw something off? To be like, oh, I can eat this with other foods and it's fine. Okay, good, strong. I can eat this regardless of what someone told me. Yeah, I can eat this even though I was born with this disease or whatever. I can eat this. So you just try to throw in any type of phrase that might be weak or strong. You could just test, and check. Okay. When you get into the enablers and inhibitors, you'll hit most of the things, but it's good to just come up with anything else of like, what else, and positive or negative statements. Okay. Does that make sense, guys?
Mhm.
Okay. Everybody good? Thumbs up? Cool. All right. So yeah, so aligning with foods, very simply, you just show them the 4 different points, and that's kind of it. It's pretty simple. Master modes. This is where it gets fun. So right now you've taught them how to do the modes. Ask mode. Anytime it's weak, what do? You drill this. Anytime it goes weak, what do? Align and then ask for a mode. If it goes weak, you align and ask for a mode. Ask for a mode. Ask for a mode. So they're like programmed by the time they're done. Check modes. Then you get here and you throw it all out the water. So you're like, okay. So now to shortcut, here, all fingers and all pads, this is 1 through 4, this is 5 through 8, and this is 1 through 8. So you show them, okay? And now you can introduce this of saying, okay, to use the master modes, you could just ask, here's one way to shorten it, is when you're checking, is there a mode? Yes. Then you could ask, can I use a master mode? Is there a master mode? Yes. Cool. 1, 2, 3. So what does that imply? If 3 pops up, it means that there is probably a mode in 1 through 4 and a mode in 5 through 8. So I just shortened it by half.
Just lost me completely.
So if I get the master mode, number 3 pops up, which is 1 through 8. You following that?
Yeah, because this would be master mode 1, this would be 2, and this would be 3.
Yeah, sorry. So when I say master mode, I refer to 3 because it's everything.
Okay.
So if you ever hear me say master mode, it's the fist. You don't have to teach it that way. It confuses people. I just all the time, it's been put in, that's my definition. Master mode, this one. So master mode 1, master mode 2, master mode 3. That's how we are supposed to say it. So you just check, can we use a master mode? Yes. Then you can check 1, 2, or 3. If 3 comes up, that implies that there was more than one mode off. Right?
I don't get that.
You guys following that?
No, I don't understand. Why does it say?
It doesn't make sense. I know what you're saying, but it seems like if you got 3, it would mean you could do it that way.
So here's let me erase this. If I check individual modes 1 through 8, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the traditional way, right?
Right.
Now, if I introduce master modes, if I use master mode 1, that means 1 through 4, right? So if master mode 1 shows up, that implies there were 2 off or more. Otherwise, you would just align an individual one. So if I do this one, it means 1, 2, 3, or 4 was off, and any combination. So it could have been 1, it could have been 2, it could have been 3, it could have been 4, or it could have been all of them.
Oh, I think I get it now.
So instead of going the old way, which would have been, okay, which mode do I need to align? 1, yes. Align number 1. Is 1 aligned? Yes. Is number 2? No. Gotta align number 2 now. Now I align number 2. Now I align number 3. Now I align number 4. But if master mode 1 shows up, then instead of having to do all individually, I just do them all at once. So it implies that more than one was off in 1 through 4. If master mode 2 shows up, what does it imply?
At
Something was
least
off.
2 between 5 and 8 were off.
Yep, at least 2 between 5 and 8 were off. If master mode 3 shows up, what does that imply?
There's at least 2 or 3 between 1 and 8 were off.
Correct. Yep. So you drastically shortcut the time using master modes. So instead of having to do like 6 of them or 4 of them or 3 of them, you just do it. One master mode hits it all.
I guess I'm confused as to when you're going to ask that. Are you asking that during the alignment, or you're asking this just at a shortcut?
These are shortcuts. So when people get good at doing the alignment, then you could introduce this and just say, okay, when you're aligning, is there a mode? Then now the question would be to ask, do I need to align individually? No. Is there a master mode? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 3. So then you just put 3 and align. Move to the next one. Does that make sense, Jody?
Yeah, I guess, but let's say you have a new client. Are you going to use a master mode with them?
No,
Okay.
not usually. I'll either go the shortening the entire process or the long version. So when we shorten the entire process, we throw out all the modes essentially. I mean, you still align the modes, but it's in the very beginning. But is there any questions? Does the master modes make sense? 1 through 4, 4 through, or 5 through 8, 1 through 8, and why they're useful and why it's a shortcut? So, Vicky, tell me why the master modes are a shortcut.
Because then you can ask, is there a mode and can you use, the way I do it is, can I use one of the master modes? And shall I do number 1? And if it comes up yes, then I will do those and then align with it, align those modes. If it comes up 2 or 3, then I do the same process, but it just shortens it. But I usually do it for the whole process at the first rather than,
Yeah, so you're shortening the entire process. So,
right.
And when you get better and better, that's the easiest and fastest way. The reason why it's handy is if you're doing the long version, like if somebody comes up with the long version, then I will see if they can do master modes because it will still shorten it still. So for example, let's say I'm working on a client and I ask, can I shorten the entire process by anchoring in and locking in all of the modes for the duration of the session, and will it be just as effective? And if they're like, nope, then I'm like, dang it, the bummer. So then I'm like, okay. So then I say, then my next best is, can we use master modes and will it be just as effective? And I check that because that's at least going to save me 10, 20 minutes doing it that way. So if it's like, yes, then I'm like, okay, that's good. That's better than just doing them individually. But some people are like, nope. So then I'm like, all right, we're just going old school. We're going to find all of your things that are off and align every single mode that comes up. And it's just a lot longer. Like that might take 2 hours plus if somebody's way out.
I had a lady that I worked on Saturday who we got most of the way done, I think, we got all the organs, glands, and chakras, and we were in either the enablers or the inhibitors. And she said she was hyperventilating, and we had to quit because of all the panting. Have you ever had that happen before?
Yeah, so I tell people if you feel like you're hyperventilating, get a drink, stand up, walk around. You should be at the pace where you could do this all day. Some people who aren't used to breathing, seriously, they hyperventilate. It's a process in and of itself just to breathe in and out through your mouth like that and pant.
Okay, I was so surprised because I was like, "Oh my gosh, really?"
You'll have newbies, people who are really off, totally feel like they can't do it anymore. So
Okay.
you just say, "Cool, take a break, take a drink, take a deep breath, and then move forward." Yeah. Or you might have to schedule it if they're, do another time. Anchor in what you did, and then.
Yeah, that's what we did. We anchored and then.
Okay, so I need one. So shortening the entire process. Any questions about the master modes? These master modes? So now when you get into shortening the entire process, this is where you check to see if you can lock in all the modes for the duration of the whole session. If this happens, you're going to cut it off the alignment by like more than 50%. So this is awesome when this gets to happen. And it happens, I do it almost all the time on myself because I'm used to it. For new people, usually not so much. If people are used to energy work, sometimes this will work, but usually on the first session, you have to do the master mode version or the just full out process, okay? If I'm working on people who are just not receptive, then I just do the full process, like the entire one. If people are pretty open and pretty like mindset oriented, then yeah, usually you can shorten the process and they'll still get good results. Okay, so this is how you do it. You just ask, I allow all the modes to lock in and apply for the areas I check on this for the duration of the session. So then here, you then take each mode and align right in the beginning. And now it's locked in and you continue doing the full alignment. Now, you can shorten this by asking, can I lock in all the modes together at once to be just as effective? If so, then what do? You can just put all of them 8 in a line, and now all 8 are locked in just by doing it one time.
Are you talking about once for like, let's say I'm aligning my stomach?
So check this out. So I'm starting it, right? Here I'm gonna shorten the entire process. So I ask, okay, regarding this, can I shorten the entire process and will it be just as effective? Yes. Okay, so to anchor in all of my modes, I ask, can I anchor in all of them at once and will it be just as effective? If I get a yes, I could literally hold the fist.
Gotcha.
And now all 8 are locked in. So I usually start big, then I'll ask if it's, can I lock in all 8 at the same time and will it be as effective? No. Then I ask, can I lock in 2 chunks and will it just be just as effective? And if it's a yes, then I'll go here, do that, and then here. So now I hit 1 through 4 and 5 through 8. If I get no, then I just go, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and align each one. Now they're all anchored. Okay, so you'll find on certain statements and certain people, you'll get different answers. So it's not like, because on some of the things that I do, I can't do all of them at once. It's not as effective on me. I have to do this, or each one individually, depending on the thing that I'm aligning to. Does that make sense?
When you were doing this, are you talking about you were actually doing each one individually, or you were
I'm
tapping and moving through the fingers.
I'm doing
modes.
each one individually. So here.
Okay. Okay.
Next one. Because now this one's anchored in. Now this one, then this one, then this one. That's the long version of the shortcut. This is the semi-long version of the shortcut. And this is the shortest shortcut where you just lock them all in. Does everybody follow that? Okay. Cool. So that's, when you teach that, people are going to be like, oh my goodness, I can just not do the anchor point. So you just say, hey, I'm going to teach you this, but be sure and just do the long version several times. Get good at it. Give your story about how you so wanted to shorten it, but Tyler told you not to, and just do it because it'll help them and it'll make their stuff work better. Okay. Have them do like at least 5 by themselves where it's just full version. And then, okay, after that, shorten it if you want. The key is you want them to get results.
Okay,
Okay,
Tyler,
yes.
when you lock in the modes, sometimes I still have a tendency when I go through the whole process, I'll hold the master mode when I'm aligning the different systems. Does that matter, even though you've locked them in?
It's good to do because, yeah, if you feel like it's wearing off, you could totally just make the fist again and then do it. Because you're just, what you're doing every time you do that is you're sending the signal, remember, we're doing this. So like, if you want to hold it the whole time, you could do that as well. If somebody couldn't just lock it in. There's a lot of variations you could do. If I'm doing an intuitive alignment, I'll do the full out third master mode, and I'll try to just align things while tapping and communicating the spots while aligning. So I'm like throwing in all sorts of ninja moves to try to like make it super short when I'm doing it on myself. And if I'm like, what is going on? Let's just knock this thing out. But you just got to keep the whole philosophy in mind of like, what's the whole point of the modes? Are we aligning them? Is it really aligned? Like that's the key. Yeah, very good questions. Okay, last part, intuitive alignment. This is where you're going to ask the body. This is just an awesome process. And intuitive alignments are really cool. How many of you do intuitive alignments? No? Just 1, 2? Okay. So an intuitive alignment is short and sweet. And you basically just ask the body where it's out of alignment, and you state the statement out loud, and you do a couple alignment processes on it. So let's say I take this XYZ thing, and I'm like, I'm going to just do an intuitive alignment. Where do I feel off? Right here. And I'll maybe make a fist to represent all of the anchors, right? Or all of the modes. Then I'll put it on. Align. Where else? Right here. Align. Right here. And I'll put it on my body just where I feel like it needs aligned. And then I'll just state positives and negatives and align. So it's like, I can't do this. Oh, I am worthy and deserving of doing this. So you're just like hitting a lot of phrases and physical parts to align to the thing that you want. And sometimes that's enough. Like when I aligned my daughter and did potty training, it was a intuitive alignment that took 6 minutes. So I was like really frustrated because she wasn't potty training. And I thought, well, what are the main organs that deals with the potty? Bladder, colon, brain, maybe heart, if she had some negative feelings about it, and maybe adrenal glands. So all I did was like slap it on there and align her while she was watching a movie. And I just said it out loud. It's okay. And I didn't have a written statement. I said, it's okay and it's safe for me to go poo-poo on the potty while tapping the area. It's okay and safe for me to go poo-poo on the potty. And then I'd align, and I'd, within 7 minutes, I felt like that was it. I was like, I think that's all. Like, I don't feel like there's anything else that needs aligned. And then the next day she went 3 times in the potty, and it had taken her like almost 4 months trying to go. And I was like, wow, that was really easy. That was way easier than I thought. So intuitive alignments can be really powerful. Really, really cool.
A lot of times if I'm somewhere where I don't have a paper, I'll just put an energetic tattoo on my hand of like what the words are, and then I just use my hand wherever
That's cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
in an emergency.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So you can just verbalize it, tap where you feel like it's off, and align. That's an intuitive alignment. And they can take anywhere from 3 to 15 minutes. Cool? Okay. So your homework's going to be do an intuitive alignment if you haven't, because it's hard to teach something you haven't done. So do 1 or 2 intuitive alignments so that you can actually teach this better. Okay. The last shortcut is the different breaths. So when you breathe out of your mouth, in through your mouth, it's taps into the beta wave. Alpha is mouth nose, theta nose nose, delta nose mouth. So if I'm got something really stuck and it's a physical pain or something that I just really want to shift quick, then instead of just breathing into the nose, out to the mouth, into the nose, out to the mouth, into the nose, out to the mouth, I'll do all 4 of those breath cycles. So I'll have their statement, I'll put it on them or wherever it's really resisting, and I'll say, okay, in through the mouth, out to the mouth, into the mouth, out to the mouth, into the mouth, out to the mouth, pant, smile. Now go to mouth, nose. Then nose, nose. Then nose, mouth. And smile. That's how you do it. Okay? And that, even just doing that will shift people. Like me doing that, I'm like, wow, whew, like it's a big shift because you hit so much stuff, even without a statement. Just doing that breath cycle pattern while tapping and breathing. It's a really powerful statement to help, a powerful process to get out of anxiety, to shift something that's really stuck. So that's what I go to if I'm like, I don't know, nothing's working. I just do the 4 breath cycle. Questions on that?
So
Okay.
that might be good for like depression or whatever.
Yeah, if somebody's just really depressed, they're like, nothing's working at all. I'm like, cool. Or if there's a statement that just isn't shifting, that I'm like, state your statement, and they're like, I just can't do this. And you align, all right, I can't do this, and they're still weak. And it's like, shoot, we tried modes. If nothing's like changing it, then do that, and it'll change it. Yeah? Cool. Any questions about any of these parts?
Do you want to talk about the symbols?
Oh, yeah. So the symbol, this is a really good thing. How many have used the symbol and aligned to the symbol? Anybody?
Not that I want to.
So it depends what your interpretation of the symbol is. And if you've lived in a certain time frame, or if you've tied your definitions to weird stuff, then yeah, you might change your definition. So Leanna said, I did this when I woke up in lots of pain, and it took the pain away after 2 rounds. Yeah. So the cool thing about the symbol is it gets rid of pain really fast. So I developed this symbol actually due to shoulder pain that I had. And I thought, well, symbols can be really powerful. And I thought, so I just put together about 5 different really powerful words. What this one is the Om, the peace, the yin yang, and infinity and gratitude, which is one of the most powerful frequencies on the planet. So all of them combined, you can literally just cut that thing out, slap it on where you hurt, and do an alignment, and you'll feel it just start to shift. And you just chase the pain with it. It's a really good balancing symbol. So if you're like, I don't have anything I want to align to, you could literally just take the symbol and align all of you to that symbol, and it would just put everything into a good state, like a homeostasis.
So are you saying that you're balancing to each one or you're balancing to that group?
The whole square, all 5 is the symbol.
Okay.
Yeah. So like if you look here, it's kind of a little bit different color, the whole thing. So from here to here to here to here, it's the whole thing. We've also had people use jewelry, take jewelry that they've had that they love and check to see if they're 100% aligned in all areas with jewelry. You can also take any type of symbol and do it to symbols. Hebrew letters, Hebrew words, really powerful to do. There's so many cool things. You can do books, take a whole book and align a book to you. You could take, there's so many cool stuff you could do alignments on, symbols, and it gets really fun. Questions about that?
So list the things that you thought it was specifically really great for, like just balancing your whole body, pain.
And pain, those are really good ones. And if you're just like, I don't even know what to do, then just take that and slap it on and you'll feel better. Yeah, headache removal, I like all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's pretty fun to play with. So I say if somebody lived in the 60s, you might need to redefine the peace sign. If you're, if
My husband hates that one.
if you're,
I lived in the 60s. I like the peace sign.
some people, depending on how extreme you went during the 60s. So, yeah, some people it's positive, some people it's not so positive. So all those, I just say, if something triggers you or throws you off, redefine it and find something that works. Cool. Okay, so I know today was kind of a big day. You guys did awesome. Starting on Thursday, I want us to roll through this and make sure you can teach the shortcuts, because this is where usually most confusion happens. So read over this several times before Thursday. Try to make sure you understand it and even try to teach it just out loud so that when we teach on Thursday, it's not your first time. Okay? And go through all the parts of the shortcuts to make sure that you don't have any questions on the shortcuts. Cool? If you haven't done an intuitive alignment, do that in the meantime as well. And then that's it. Thursday, we're going to have you teach this a little bit more and then get into, after you're done teaching, into the offer. So whether you're going to make an offer or not, or whether you're teaching or not, so like in Vicky's case, depending if she wants to teach or not, depending on how you sleep after you heard my spiel, will dictate. But offers are so important. Okay, so we'll talk about that on Thursday of why it's so important and how it can completely change someone's life to be able to sell well. Because I know it has for me, and hopefully it has for you guys going through this. If you've allowed it to, then hopefully the sales and being a part of this has been a transformational journey for you. Cool. All right. We'll talk on Thursday.
Cool.
Okay, thanks, Tyler.
Have a good night. Rock it out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.